big man. Yeah. It's my theme song. Turn it up. Come on. Come on, everyone.
From funky Chinatown, they were chopping them they were chopping them down. It's an ancient Chinese art, and everybody knew their part. From a finger to a slip, take it from the hip, gone for fighting.
I know, you love it, hey? It's my theme song. Best part, best part of the night, I'm going to keep that out of your face. All right. Well, we have got, if you've been following the series, whether you're online, you're going to have to stay with me tonight, Tyler. I'm going to move around quite a bit tonight, brother. So welcome to everybody online. We are at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Are we at 6 night? What are we at? 5 night? Yeah. So we're at 5 night. So we are at the Blue Belt tonight. And if you haven't been following this, of course, it is the 9 belts of self-defence. And tonight I'm going to be talking to you. Actually, I think I've got tonight and next week, yeah? Next 3 weeks. Woo! Yeah! Get in, injection. You know, so tonight we're going to be talking about relationships, but we're going to be talking about friends and lovers tonight. For some of you, that'll be a reality. And for others, it's like, oh, you know, get away from me, boys, germs, get off germs, you know, don't want any of that, you know, so get that thing, what of that thing out of here, you know, so whatever. Oh, there it is. So, just so we know, and for the guys online, next week, going round, yeah, is my doing, yeah. So next week, so this is going to be the serious part, and then we'll get into some fun and then back into some serious stuff. So next week, I'm going to be talking about a very, very serious belt. And that's all about, the belt is really about what they call going to ground. And what that means, and for you guys online, if you know somebody that has been impacted physically by a situation in their life, whether that's been they've been interfered with when they were a kid, or that they've been attacked in the street or in their normal daily life, I'm going to be talking through a process next Monday night about the whole series about what happens when you go to ground. Okay, so it is going to be a very sensitive night, and I'm going to be sharing some of my own personal journey in that space. So it is going to be a very sensitive night. It's going to be a really great night, just like what we talked about through the belts. As you get further up in your martial arts belts, it gets tougher, doesn't it? You know, if you've ever done martial arts, it gets harder to practice and harder to cope with, and sometimes harder to crack to that next level. So next week, we're going to be talking about that. But tonight, okay, so we're cool. So if you've got friends that you know kind of been in that space, you want them in the room next week, we're going to love on them, we're going to really help them through that process. And if you can't get here, get online, because next week's going to be serious. Now, I've met adult men and women who have still not processed some of that space. So it's going to be a very interesting evening for us all. Yeah? We cool?
Yeah.
3 people up. Good stuff. Good. Okay, so tonight we're going to be talking about friendship and lovers. So what it means to be friendable, and how many of you think you're a friendable kind of person?
I have my number.
Yeah? Right. How many of you would say you're not? Put your elbow up like that. You know? 2 elbows. All right. Well, by tonight, Ebony, you know, we're going to work that out. All right? Yeah. We're working it out with you, girlfriend. All right. What school are you at? Mooroolbark. You're at Mooroolbark, Pembroke, Yarra Hills, aren't you? Who else in the room goes to Mooroolbark campus of Yarra Hills?
What's the other campus?
Yeah, I go to the other campus. What's wrong with that?
No, there's a reason for this. What was your name again? Charlie. Charlie needs friends. I just made you some friends. Can someone be Charlie's friend at school this week? Sweet as.
Yay, now.
I just made you some friends. High five me. That's how you do it. We used to have a gal here, and sometimes she watches online, and her name was Liana, and is still Liana. She hasn't changed that far, and she's still with us. Love you. So she's an amazing girl. She used to say when we had new people, and they say, "Oh, I'd like to get to know someone." She always say this phrase, "Pick me." When it was for an event, whether it was for getting to know someone handled the hound. She would always say, "Pick me," you know, and if she met somebody new at Bridge Builders, she would say, "I'm now your new best friend," you know, and that's just her personality, and she was so amazing in that space. And so sometimes that's as easy as it takes, is just be in someone's face. And I just made you 5 friends. Someone get that girl some sugar. So so tonight I want to talk to you about a process of how you choose your friends and how your friends choose you. And do you have a criteria? When I was younger, I probably didn't have a criteria. I probably just had this thing that if anybody kind of smiled at me, "Oh, they're my friend," you know, and I would follow them around like a bit of a bad smell. Now, if you've ever done a bad smell, you probably don't want that hanging around, do you? Anyone been a bad smell friend?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been a bad smell friend. Yeah, come on. I know you have. I know. Or maybe you just made the bad smell. But yeah, the reality is, I want to know, there used to be a show, and they've sort of done spin-offs of it now. It used to be, and it was called Perfect Match. I don't know if many of you are old enough to remember that show, but they used to have this robot in that show, and when a couple there'd be this wall, and I think they've done one recently, it might have still be called Perfect Match, and they've got that lady from the Jungle thing, Julia, yeah, and she does this compatibility score of, yeah. Well, they used to have this robot that was called Dexter. And when a guy would stand behind the screen and ask questions of 3 girls, and then it would swap around and it would be 3 girls ask a girl, whatever, that, you know, the opposite. And then they would get to choose, without seeing this person, based on a compatibility score, whether that person was going to be in a relationship with them or not. I don't know if you've ever done a computer analysis. You ever done one online on Facebook or something like that?
Yeah. You type in your name, type in your crush's name, and watch you get a 14%.
You got a 0%. So probably not going to work out.
Didn't work out.
Didn't work out. Aren't you glad you didn't reach out? Yeah. Because rejection would have been worse, hey?
50%.
Well, who are we talking about?
It didn't work.
Okay, so I did one time and I thought I'd be funny. Right?
Put yourself.
I put myself in, dating myself. No, I was 100%, you know. So, I put in Brad Pitt. Not lying. I thought that guy's banging hot, you know, so, and still is. Right, and so I put in Brad Pitt. I thought, I'm going to just check that thing out, you know. I checked him out plenty of times in Troy, you know. So the reality is, in that one, came back. If you haven't seen the movie, see it. So the reality is, it came back to me.
Negative.
No. 85% compatibility.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, get rid of Angelina. You got some stuff coming at you, boy. You know, so the challenge is sometimes, depending on how we feel and what we do and how we answer the questions, will give us back feedback about whether we're going to be a compatible match. But I wonder how many of us actually do that with our friends. Because often we are just so hungry for friendship, we actually don't survey in our mind our friendships first. We just kind of, you know, suck onto someone and just go, yeah, they'll do. And sometimes they don't do. Sometimes we find ourselves going down a pathway that we head down and we end up going, oh, hey, yeah, how did I get here? But the fear of actually separating yourself from that friendship group is so overwhelming that you'd rather stay in a negative environment than try and separate yourself into a new pathway or a new space. It's a much harder thing to do. So I want to ask you a couple of questions, and we're gonna write. Look at these huge texters, aren't they awesome? I saw these one time at a conference, and I said to Beck, "Get me them. Whatever it takes, just get me them." You know. So they are awesome, and they smell amazing too. Not that I'm encouraging you to sniff texters, but you know. So, do you have? Calvin has a type. All right, and it's usually a stuffed toy. But anyway, Do you have a type of friend? Yeah?
Kind.
Kind, righto. So we've got a kind friend, yeah? What else you got?
Trustworthy.
Trustworthy. We're just going with trust because it's taking too long to write worthy. Yeah?
Respect.
Respect, we learnt that last week. Yeah, yell them out.
Taller than me.
Funny. Loyal.
Taller, loyal. What did you
one-
say? Someone said something back there?
That's it, happy.
Happy.
Can we say annoying
There you go. An annoying friend.
I'm not annoying friend. Not
Hey? Considerate, right? Consider. Empower. Yes. What? Sorry, I can't hear.
Toxic.
Toxic. Got a toxic friend.
That's going down the bottom. Funny and
Yeah.
encouraging.
Funny and encouraging. Rich.
I'm gonna deal with that.
Rich happens to be my best friend. Just saying. Understand that one.
Oh,
You know,
he's so cute.
Rich. Yeah. What else did we say? Yeah. Inspiring. Yeah.
Bubbly.
Funny friend.
Got straight hair. I think someone said funny. Got funny. Oh, that's my funny.
Funny, that's the
G. Hey. Attractive. You thirsty kind of person. You know. Attractive. I don't want to hang out with uglies. Some people say that. Not me. Yep.
A quiet friend.
A quiet. Yeah, I don't have many of those. So,
No, we've got a hand up here.
Quiet. Yeah. Yep. Oh, you finished. Nice. Constructive. Yeah. Yep.
Opinionated.
You've got an opinionated friend. You've got some strange friends, man. Yeah. True. Right.
What about a friend that's like pretty much spitting image of yourself, like similar?
Like the mirror? You're looking at your friend going, I date you.
No, as in like my best mate Slaney, he's literally me, but with longer hair.
Slaney, shout out. Yeah. So everybody wants a Slaney? Yeah. Right. Thoughtful.
I've got one that just thinks.
Is that someone that you've got a crush on? Oh, right. Oh, I just saw you turn red when they said Slaney. Anyway.
Ambitious.
Ambitious, right.
I bet you got
Yeah. Go. Fake. Did you say fake? You like fake friends? Oh, you don't like it, but you've got them. Great, yeah.
Social friend.
Social, right. Okay, yeah, social friend. Yeah, this is driving some people mad, me writing over this, by the way. Yeah.
Lovely.
Pardon?
Lovely.
Lovely. Lovely. All right. What was that? Yeah, is that killing you, Naomi, right now? Mary? Heart of God.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's the best friend you could have, is a hot friend. Yeah, anyway. Yeah.
Scary.
Scary friend. Is that a red or a blue? That's a red. All right.
Or intimidating.
Scary friend. All right, one more.
I was gonna say crazy.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. How's that working out for you? Yeah. So, here's the thing. This is me doing assets, right? You should see my worksheet. So, this is the challenge. Sometimes we have so much expectation of friends, so many filters that we run through, it can feel like the board. It can feel as crazy as that, as mad as that, and it's just as complex as that. So, I wonder then, when we go to the red section, you have fake friends, you have opinionated friends, you have scary friends, and you have toxic friends. So why don't you get rid of them?
Checking your last strings. Not bad.
check your values.
Good question, Phil.
Probably because you've known them for too long that you don't want to actually lose the friendship that you have with them. Like the good, you still have good times, but you also have bad times.
Do you have more bad than good?
In my friend group, yeah, there's quite a bit with bad times with one friend, but I've been friends with them for a while to not be friends with them. if that
So,
makes sense.
we'll come back to the three. So you're with a friend, they're toxic, you've known them for a long time, and you think, one day, they're just going to snap out of it. One day, they're going to not be so needy. One day, they're not going to be. They're going to be not so not so morbid all the time. Not so whingy all the time. Not so. So, do you reckon that one day will ever come?
Nah.
Because of you. Because see, there's that old analogy that used to say, when you put a bad apple in a barrel of apples, all the good apples don't turn the bad apple good. So you take a mouldy apple and you stick it in a barrel of apples, it's not all the good apples in there going, yeah, let's love on that apple and make him good again, or her. They look at it and go, yeah, no, it's getting mould on me. And they all become mouldy apples. You actually get more affected by the one than you do about the many.
Sorry.
So I have this thing. Yes, darling?
I've got this friend that's, instead of me being a bad smell, it's more of them.
Yeah, they hang on. Yeah, some people, are we all needy?
Yeah.
Absolutely. If you can't admit you're a needy person, then you're not a human being. Or being. So if you're a human being, well, every human craves four things. What are the four things we crave? Let's say it slowly. Love. So the four needs that we have. So if you took that filter and I was going to become friends with Ebony, and I said, okay, they'll have these four things that I'm looking through to see if Ebony's going to be that kind of person that's going to meet my needs in that world. Do you reckon that is what we do?
Nope.
How do we get our friends?
We meet each other through certain things.
Yeah, you meet people. Yeah, through certain things.
meet
It's going to help your minds now. See, got things in common. Yeah. How do we meet them? Got a lot to get through tonight. I'm going to give you 11 secrets tonight on how to get great friends. All right. So, yeah.
Bridge builders.
Yeah. Right. So you hang out at community groups. You hang out at clubs. You hang out at nightclubs, whatever that might be, whatever your scene is. Yeah.
Internet.
Last time clubbing, I ended up.
Yep. So yeah, you can hang out there if you like, and for some people that's true. Tinder, Bumble, Snapchat is kind of a place to find people. Now, I'm not an advocate for it, but I know people who have met extraordinary friends and lovers through those dating sites. Sometimes it's because the getting into a social circle can be so complex sometimes, it's much easier to reach out via an app and see if what that person's profile is all about, to see if you have a compatibility. But what you don't actually understand is you are actually surveying them at that moment. So when a person's profile comes up and you see what their interests are, you are automatically working through your processes in your mind of whether you think you want to swipe left or right or accept them, yes or no. How many of you accept friends on how they look? Or have done? Yeah, totally. I have met people. I have chosen in my life not to meet people because of how they look. And then I have to step back and go, well, you'll know oil painting. And if you know who Picasso is, right, I sort of see myself like that at times. I look and see, that's a bit ugly, That's how I see myself, because when I look through that filter and think, oh man, who am I to stand in a place of judgment of somebody else based on how I think they look? I have met some of the most incredible people by putting that filter aside and stepping in and getting to know the people based on it, and they are more beautiful than I could possibly imagine. And quite a lot of them are sitting in this room. It's amazing. I would say that about my entire leadership team.
They're all ugly.
You've got a great personality. that they are people who I would not normally in my world, my age, sort of mix with, but because we have a common cause, we get to do life together, and I find myself bound by a common goal of love and acceptance and value and belonging by a group of men and women that is just unbreakable. And people are jealous of it. No. You want to be on that leadership team, trust me. All right, so what I've found is that there's different seasons in our life, all right? So if we're training and we're here and we're 13, 15, 17, 20, whatever it is, and you want to go from this place to that place, and you're thinking to yourself, all right, how do I move from here without being a loner, and how do I get to new friendship circles? And this is an incredible process of fear that takes place. So if I want to get from white belt turtle room and I want to go to green belt turtle room, how do I do that?
Walk.
So if I'm in here, I'm going to go over here. Genevieve, I'm just going to come behind you.
Insert myself in people's conversations.
So I'm in white belt room and I want to go over there, right? So I'll tell you what I'll do.
You will step on all of us.
Careful there. Step on everyone.
Get what? No, I'll leave it in here. So, so if I went from here to there, what have I got to do? I've got to take a process, right? So there's that analogy that says, when one door closes, another one opens. But what we forget about is the corridor between one door to the next. So if we go from here to there, it takes an effort. And you have to make a decision. I'm going to leave this room behind and I'm going to take some steps to get to that room. And for some of us, those friendship groups might be a long journey. Because you first have to figure out who you are as a person and what are you looking for in friends. We're not even at the lovers yet. If you want to be sexually involved with someone, I'm not going to talk about just being sexually involved. We're going to be talking about being intimate with someone, and that's two different things. So if you want to change your friendship circle, and you have to go from here to there, it takes a step, multiple steps for you to be able to do that. Just like when you're going for your blue belt, you have to practice another level. And usually there's a lot of bruises involved in that process because you're going higher up in your belts. It takes some bruising to happen at that space to get to that space. It's never easy. If someone says to you, it's so easy to find friends, they're lying. Because the depth of friendship is different to just having 5,000 people on your Facebook. Because I'd rather have a handful of deep, meaningful relationships than 5,000 stone skippers. Because then I feel like I can't ever get any depth with that person. What's the risk?
Rejection.
Yeah. What else? Pardon? Yeah, you might be alone for a little bit.
Neglected.
Yeah? Do you come into a friendship with expectations? Now, that's a big word, but when you go to friend someone, you sort of think, hey, I'm going to get to meet Ellie, going to get to know a bit about her, going to ask her a few questions, get to know her a little bit, and she starts to tell me, I go, oh yeah, all right. And then we form this friendship, and then she has a party and doesn't invite me.
That'll be a group.
Am I cool with that?
No.
Might be.
No, you're probably not.
Yeah. My best friend says to me, whenever we catch up, if we had a planned date, mandate, we would say, if he was tired, he would just ring me and say, bro, I'm so tired, man. Can we take a rain check? And I say, dude, you sleep well, you think of me, man.
Oh.
Creepy.
They're referring to it as crazy.
Yeah.
I love him. Hello, Richard. So the challenge is, guys, is if I have an expectation of Ellie on my relationship, will it ever be met?
Probably not.
Probably not, because maybe my expectations are too unrealistic. So do you have a friendship kind of ladder of expectation, what you want out of a friendship?
Yes.
If you do, thumbs up to you, because it's a filter that you will judge people by who you want to influence your world. And it's so important not to judge them as if, like, I don't like your hair colour, or I don't like the the football team you go for. We're talking about, are they a person of character that you want to influence your world so you can have a bigger world? And you want to have such an incredible relationship with that person, not that you're consumed by them, because that's another sort of end of the spectrum we don't want to get to, is like you're just so consumed by them that every minute of the day you have to talk to them, and if they don't ever include you in anything, they make a decision about that, and then you're just going to be so rejected at that point, and just think, oh no, I'm going, I'm out, that's it, we're no longer friends, come on. He could help you, but, you know, but maybe not tonight, you know, it's up to you. So, is there such a thing as chemistry between friends?
Yes.
Is there such chemistry between a man and a woman?
Yeah.
Hold my hand. Hold it like I'm your lover. You know, she didn't change her hand grip, what she changed was her facial expression. That was beautiful. So reach out to someone right now, grab them by the hand. Don't look at them, just grab by the hand. I don't want to, no hugging! Just grab someone by the hand. You guys okay? Just reach out to that stranger on the seat beside you if you're in a restaurant and just grab them by the hand. Right? Now, here we go, back here. People. All people. How? Hey, I just got you 5 foot. You're going to hold my hand. Yeah, we are. I am staying here until you all die! Put it in! Come on! Lovely. Come on! Yeah! We are so friends from now on, you know. So the challenge is, sometimes, even inside ourselves, thanks Charlie, I really appreciate you taking the risk, because the fact is that if you keep hanging out here, sweetheart, you're going to meet some of the most amazing young people you've ever met in your life. So, and the dog, you know, and he seems to like you, loving you there, you know. So, the challenge is the minute you reach out to someone, does it feel a little strange, or does it feel like, So now, look at the person next to you and go, I've got 10. I've got a lot to get to in 10 minutes, so hang on. Right, so buckle up. Here we go, alright? So we've got a lot to get through. So, if there's chemistry in a relationship, in a friendship, I don't know about you, but when I'm sussing friends out, and that's what we all do, regardless of whether we admit it or not, when we see someone from a distance, we're usually observing them first and thinking, I would really like to get to know that person. They do stuff, they act a certain way, they are a certain way, they seem to be fairly magnetic for people, or they're the opposite, where they could be just really calm and quiet and kind of a bit of a reader and a real contemplator. That's still attractive. That's still really, for some people, that's a really amazing quality. I'm not that quiet, even in my sleep, but I like hanging out with quiet people sometimes. You know, so, and that's good because I learn how to contemplate a little bit when I hang out with people like that. And usually contemplative people are wiser. They take stuff and consider stuff, you know, and so they're amazing people to have in your world. So, if you have chemistry for something, or for a friendship, then this is really critical for you as Blue Belt friendshipers, right, is to really understand that, are you a friendable person? Now, we just wrote a bunch of things up here, and if you couldn't put at least 1, 3, 5 of those things into your life, then maybe there's some work to do in that space for you. One of the biggest things that you need to develop is trust. If you want to be friendable, then you need to have trust. You need to be able to be trusted with what people are going to share with you. If you come into my world and I share something with you and I trust you and you break that trust, look out. True story, when I was younger, I was a little bit more violent than I am these days. Grew up in that kind of environment, which was not good. Years ago, I made a decision to get 2 tattoos on my wrists, which represent every time I extend my hands to someone now, they were going to be in love and in faith, not in violence. And that was a serious moment for me in my life, a turning point where I thought, anybody that comes into my life, I'm going to protect them, but I'm going to love them, and I'm going to believe in them. I'm going to have faith in them. So whenever I wrap my arms around you, you know, love and faith is surrounding you at that point. That's how I see it. So I just shared an intimate moment with you. Well, I don't know about cute, it's cool, alright. When I was in Form 1, Year 7, the Year 6, 12 girls used to say, oh, so cute. I didn't want cute, I wanted hot, you know. But I was that big and I was not hot, you know, I was cute. I was rubbish bin size, you know. It was like the guy that came out, the green thing in Sesame Street. Well, the thing is, you have to build this and you have to be you have to be absolutely committed to being a trustworthy person if you want to be friendable. And if you want to progress into being a lover of someone, that is critical. If you don't have that, your friendship circle will diminish and diminish and diminish until you sit there and think, why does everybody hate me? Why does everybody want to bash me? Why am I always bluing with someone? Why are they always, you know, bullying me on Facebook? Why are they, you know, why? Ask all these questions, why? That's because you lack trust. Because some of the most incredible people that I hang out with now, I have heard some amazing stories of their journey and feel so honoured that they would feel that vulnerable to share the most precious moments of their life. To get this, you have to mature. So immaturity, if you're an immature person, you will laugh at this and you will not take it seriously. I have met 12-year-olds with incredible trust and maturity. You can be that person. Most of you, I think, sitting in this room would be that person, yeah? So I met Tim the other week. He sits in my pack, my newbies pack. And I had the privilege of him listening to him share some of his life and some of his story and where he's at. And I just felt so respected and so honoured, man, to kind of sit in that space and let you, and you knew me for about 5 seconds, dude. And you began to share with me, you know, and with Mary and the others in the room, what's happening with you and where you're at. And I'm going, Dad, this guy's magic. He's a magical guy. He's like expressive, he's like creative, and he's flamboyant. If you don't know what that is, look it up. It's amazing, you know. And he's fresh, you know. And I just think, why would we get, oh, Tim, he's so tall. He's so dark-haired. What are we? Morons? Are we morons? When we look at another human being and we judge them with that such surface stuff, you will never have a depth of friendship unless you develop these two things. Trust and maturity. So if you want to be a blue belt in the friendship world, just be that. Be trustworthy with whatever anybody shares with you. You make sure that you have their best interest at heart. And here's the thing. I know, I might blow out the time. Beck, just keep me, because I haven't got my clock. So, but this is such a cool. We've got 5. Great, maybe 6. This is really important that we understand how you do friendship. This is my man scales. All right. So this is how I do friendship. You want a tip? This is how you do it. The word honour, however you spell it, whether you're from America or from Australia, wherever you want to do, you can take the U out or leave it in, whatever you like. This process of honour, grab your hands like this, not like that, put them like this, right? Like that will make me freak out, all right? So, yeah, okay, so you hold it like this. When you come into a friendship, before you even think about becoming friends, if I want to become friends with Bianca, I want to know first, and by the way, I met her at a girls' retreat. She was the most outstanding young woman at that girls' retreat because she had a mission to get my lanyard by the end of that girls' retreat, and she still got it today, you know. Awesome. So the challenge is, whenever I go into friendship, I do this. I weigh up what am I bringing into this friendship? Not what am I getting from this person. If I want to be friends with Bianca, what am I bringing into the mix? Am I bringing my interest? Am I bringing what I can get from her? Or am I bringing stuff that I could take the load from Bianca without whatever happening in her world, and I can take that and I can say, I've got that, it's okay, I'll take that from you. And then can I add value to her? As gold, can I add value to her life and weigh it up? And the word honour comes from the measure of the good and bad. So in the Greek word, way back, if you look back into the Greek meaning of this, it means to weigh up that which is good and that which is bad. That's where the word honour comes from. Incredible is that you can do this process with friendships. I wouldn't walk up to a new person and go, yeah. They might go, whoa, please, you know. So, and definitely don't walk up to them like that. So that would be, especially a bloke, you know. So the challenge is scale your friendship. But the first thing you do before you try and get the weight of that friendship, you have to weigh yourself. You have to weigh yourself up. Are you possibly friendable, or are you needy as and nothing to bring to the table? Now, if you're needy as, then just own it. And say, I'm so needy. Say it out loud. I'm needy. I'm really, really needy.
I require validation.
I require validation. So, the challenge, guys, is quite simply this. When my boys, punks, mind you, were first dating in high school, I used to say to my boys when they come home, Daniel will just give me permission to share. Morning, Dan. Because he's asleep now because he's doing night shifts. So, he said, Dad, I want to date this chick. And I say, sweet as. I said, what colour are her eyes? They're silver. I said, what's her middle name? Eh? What's her surname? Does she have brothers and sisters? Are her parents together or not together? What do they do? What's her favourite colour? What does she like to do when she's not at school? He looks at me and goes, I said, really? Okay. Then my youngest son, Josh, evening Josh, he was smart. He liked his old man, right? Sneaky, so forth. You know, and so he was sitting in the background. He hears me grilling Daniel. A couple of months later, Josh comes to me and he says, Dad, I want to date this girl. I said, sweet. Pulls out this piece of paper. He goes, her eyes are blue. This is her surname. This is what Mum and Dad does. This is what I said, touche. Her name happens to be Shay. If you're listening, connect with Josh. You know, so the challenge is that he knew the grid. And why did I ask so many questions of Daniel?
To make sure that he actually knew
Who he was dating. The computer says compatibility, you know, because often we look at someone like Josh Baldwin and go, damn! I know you did, and that's some fine piece of man right there, you know, and give me some of that, and you have, yeah. So, I'm going to stop now, yeah. 1 minute, I got 1 minute. I can keep going here for hours. Anyway, looks at Josh and goes, That's what you said, I know, you were there, I was there, and said, you know, so, I want to know, she wants to know Josh. Like, what's he about? What drives him? What's he motivated by? What pulls him back? What blocks him and what grows him? And how can I bring to the table something that helps grow that guy? So here's the thing. My mum used to always teach me this. Whenever you go to someone's house, you're always brought something. Doesn't happen so much these days for people. You know, you go to a party, you take in something. Nah, we don't do that now. You know, I go, really? Why not? Oh, we don't eat, we just drink. I go, really? Watch this. My sons would have their big gatherings. I'd bring out chips and party pies. All gone! You know, I said, really? Don't bring something. My mum always said, always bring something to the table when you go somewhere. I took that analogy, and that's how I treat friendships and relationships. If you're going to sit on the other side of a table from someone and have a conversation or a meal or something, what are you bringing to the table as a person? Are you a person of character? Are you a person of trust? Are you a person of maturity? What are you bringing to the table? Because often we come to the table and you look across the table at another person and go, oh, I want to get me some of that. I want to take from that person to meet my needs. Rather than saying, I wonder what I could bring to the table and help share with this person that person might be lifted, might be more amazing. Wouldn't that be a different kind of conversation? Rather than, you know, or sending photos to one another and say, check this part of my body out. Most of us have those bits, one way or another. Big deal. But what they don't have, and what Snapchat can't show you, what Tinder can't show you, what Bumble can't show you, is what goes on in the core of a human being. So if you want to be a blue belt friend, if you want to be a blue belt lover, learn to know your soul first.
Bless you.
Learn to know what's in your soul first. The challenge is, guys, you are in a culture where all the surface stuff matters more than the deep stuff, but we're all craving the deep stuff. But we're too afraid sometimes. You know, Charlie said at the start of the night, I know I'm embarrassing you, but you're going to have like 40 mates before you leave here, sweetheart. That's just how it is. It's how we roll, dude. So the challenge here really is that, you know, she says that I find it difficult. I know, I get that, right? You get that. It's hard, isn't it, to reach out and think, rejection. Oh. I feel ill, better to stay who I am. It's not. My capacity as a person has grown because of who I know. And I've done spring cleaning with my friends over the years. Spring cleaning. I have cleaned out more friends in my life than I really wanted to. And some of those processes were so wounding and so painful for me to move those individuals away from my life. Not because I'm better than, but I want to be better in myself. And so for you, if you could trust and mature, you will become an incredible friend and the most unbelievable lover. And I'm not talking about your moves. I'm talking about the soul of who you are as a person. If you are hanging out with people, in closing, I'll put my 11 secrets to friendship up on our Facebook page, all right? Or I'll take 1 minute to go through them. No, I'm getting the nod, no. Unless the consensus, no, okay. Okay, so the challenge is no overriding the team. Right, so the challenge, guys, is quite simply this week. As you go into your packs, maybe just consider this week in your... I asked you to do this. I don't want you to show it and you delete it at the end. You put the list of all your friends down. I don't care if it's 1, 3, 9 or 5,000. You put your list of friends down in your phone and you assess what influence they have. Just do this. Just hold your 5 fingers up with your palm of your hand. You, regardless whether you like this or not, you are the average of the 5 people that you hang around. What that simply means is if you hang out with Richard Craniums, dickheads, right? You will be a dickhead. Right? If you hang out with amazing people, it only takes 5. If you hang out with 5 amazing people that challenge your life, add value to your life, build your life, encourage your life, surround your life, you will be an amazing person because you're the average of the 5 people you hang around. You can check this out. You can think about the 5 people you hang around. Do they influence me awesome or do they influence me bad? And if they're bad, then maybe you ought to be reducing the number of friends.
That usually works really well if you want to get rid of something.
Good evening.
I have done
Back to you.
Yeah.